As an MMA fan who watches this sport closely, I'll be straight up. There's a lot of debate going around about whether Sean O'Malley deserves a rematch with Merab Dvalishvili after what happened in their first fight. Merab dominated with his grappling and pace. The stats don't lie: 6 takedowns, over 10 minutes of control, and a clear win. But to act like this should close the book on their rivalry is short-sighted. O'Malley 100% deserves another shot, and I'm going to lay out exactly why. First and foremost, O'Malley is not some random contender getting fast-tracked. He was the champion and a legit one. He knocked out Aljamain Sterling, a guy that Merab himself didn't fight when he could have. In the UFC, former champs almost always get the opportunity to reclaim their belts, especially when they've been active, popular, and driving interest in the division. You can't ignore what O'Malley did as champ just because of one loss. If the belt is to mean anything, the former champ should have a clear path back, and this is that path. Not enough people are talking about this. Sean went into the first fight with a serious shoulder injury, torn labrum. Afterward, he had surgery and was clearly limited. For a striker like him, who relies on feints, fast hands, timing, and accuracy, a compromised shoulder is a massive handicap. That wasn't the best version of O'Malley we saw in there. It's only right that a healthy version gets another shot, especially since Merab himself said he wanted Sean at 100%. You can't act like that. First fight answered every question when one guy was fighting half of himself. This is where it gets interesting. Since that loss, O'Malley has overhauled his approach. He's quit smoking weed, gotten off social media, dialed in his focus, and most importantly, completely changed his training emphasis. He's been working day in and day out on wrestling, clinch work, and defensive grappling. He's even brought in Demetrius Johnson, one of the best to ever blend striking with defensive wrestling to tighten his game. It shows a level of maturity and hunger that deserves to be rewarded. If a former champ is willing to evolve, the UFC should give him the chance to test that growth against the guy who beat him. Let's be real, this sport is also about business. The bantamweight division is stacked, but there aren't a ton of money fights sitting out there. Merab versus O'Malley 2 is a fight that sells big time. It's got the storyline, the rematch, the contrast in styles, and 2 massive fan bases. Whether you love Sean or hate him, people tune in to watch. The UFC knows this, and it's why this fight makes sense, not just competitively, but financially. You want people caring about the bantamweight belt? This is how you do it. Merab himself wants the rematch. He was the one who asked to push the date back to give Sean more time to recover and come in healthy. That tells you something. Merab knows that beating Sean again, this time with no excuses, would legitimize his reign even more. When both fighters want the fight, when it serves the division, and when one guy is a former champ making serious improvements, there's really no argument against it. The rematch should happen. Now let's talk about how this fight could actually play out, and why I think O'Malley can absolutely win this time.
In the first fight, Merab was able to chain wrestle because Sean didn't threaten him enough early.
Part of that was the injury, part was lack of preparation for Merab's relentless style. But now, with a rebuilt training camp, Sean will come in ready to punish those entries. His footwork is elite when healthy. He controls distance better than almost anyone at 135. If he can stop the first few takedown attempts, it forces Merab to take more risks, and that's where Sean thrives, finding openings in transitions. His sniper-like straight punches and sneaky kicks can absolutely catch Merab, who tends to blitz forward when frustrated. If Sean manages to keep the fight at range for a couple of rounds, Merab's cardio advantage becomes less of a factor because he'll have taken more damage trying to close distance. I see O'Malley landing clean, potentially even dropping Merab with a counter and swarming for a finish in rounds 3 or 4. His accuracy, speed, and killer instinct are underrated. With a more complete anti-wrestling game, O'Malley by late TKO is a very real outcome. This fight is far from a lock for Merab, and that's why it's such an exciting rematch.